between the 13th and 14th of May.
You're invited to join us
at Gamla Riksarkivet
in Stockholm.
Party, check.
There will be a costume contest.
Check.
Meet your friends from the community in real life.
And visit our seminars.
Get your own goodie bag.
And have your favorite developers sign
something.
Anything.
A piece of paper.
Whatever you like, I guess.
Sorry, can I take a picture?
So, why come?
I don't know.
This will be the first time
you can participate.
It's the premiere.
That's why.
Come to the gates.
But don't forget
to buy yourself a ticket.
Otherwise, you can't come in.
We've had our ups and downs, our fair share of battles lost, heirs killed, and comets sighted. But we're still making Paradox games. Now, I prepare to stand before you at our first public convention in Stockholm. A body crafted to perfection through years of sitting at a computer.
That sounds like me. Well, talking about going to Paradox and PDXCon, myself and Little Miss Bear, we've been invited as special guests of Paradox, so we are going to be there. And it's coming up on the 13th and 14th of May this year, 2017. And yes, we will be there, so we shall see you there. So I'm going to let this carry on running.
A catalogue of games to be proud of. And a mindset to remember the fans that share their stories with us. Come to PDXCon. It's our way of saying thanks.
So, yes, I've got my camera ready. With got my steady cam ready. So this is what I'm going to be taking. My nice little 80D video all set up, ready to rock and roll. And on the other side, I've got my little Canon lens, 70 to 200, plus another couple of lenses. This bad boy ready to rock and roll. All the stuff. Little Miss Bear and I. It's going to be great fun. So roll on the Paradox in May. This is going to be fantastic. 13th and 14th of May over in Stockholm, Sweden. We will see you there. Have a great time. Thank you so much for watching. This will be linked through. There are lots more episodes from Heart of Iron and other games which will be coming up from the Paradox stable. So thank you so much for watching. This side of the gaming, not just the tanking, but Paradox, it's all about gaming, and that's why I've gone for the name Gaming Bear. You know, otherwise it would be World of Tanks Bear, you know? It's not World of Tanks Bear, it's Gaming Bear. So it's about gaming, it's about having fun and partying. So, yeah. So I will see you in Sweden, and have a great time till then, and just carry on gaming and have a fantastic time. So we'll be there doing autographs, signings, all sorts of stuff, and, well, bringing the fun and having lots. And so look out for me on my crutches, my wheelchair, with Little Miss Bear, and the bears will be there. So see you at PDXCon in Stockholm. Till then, bye. Hi guys, Gaming Bear here. Right, I'm back from PDXCon. Literally just arrived back an hour or two ago, and it's time to get straight back into things. So this video follow on, and this is showing some of the action from last night, where we had a 4-hour gaming session over in Sweden. So yes, that's what's going to be following. So enjoy, and I will catch up with you later. See ya. Bye.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the PDXCon World War II stream. And we got 10 people here who are going to be battling out in multiplayer in Death for Dishonour. And with me here commentating, I got Troy.
Hi everyone.
And yeah, so we split everybody up into kind of 2 teams to get a rough, good balance. So we decided our theme is going to be fascism versus communism, because there wasn't enough people or chairs for an allied faction as well. So we got 5 on each, and should we go through all the players?
Sure.
Yeah. So we got so this first here is the fascist team then. And we got Game Gabster as Czechoslovakia. We have Gaming Bear as Italy. Prussian Prince as Germany. So no pressure. Or Grugi from PDS as Spain. And we'll see which Spain, because it's going to depend a little bit. Like, if he actually loses the civil war, he's going to be forced to play for the other side. And I'm not sure if I'll butcher this name, but Tokriva as Yugoslavia.
Meanwhile, over on the communist side, we have Floriwari playing as our home country, Sweden.
Woo!
The Soviet Union is under the control of Torior. The People's Republic of China is being led to its doom by our great friend Daniel. India is under the command of Quill 18, and Romania must bow to the whims of the Solar Gamer.
Yeah. So same thing goes for Quill, because he's probably going to have the civil war to go commie. And if he loses the civil war, he's probably going to have to play for the other side. And yeah, so we figured whichever side destroys Germany or destroys the Soviet Union and wins that way, we'll call the winner. And are you guys ready to start? Or do you want some more prepping before you run? You're free to run, Daniel. Yeah. And I'm going to tweak all things here. So
we have 2 fronts really to worry about. In Europe, of course, a lot of the action is going to be happening in Eastern Europe and the Balkans, since we don't have to worry about the Allies for a bit. All the AI nations are free reign. If Germany wants to start an early war with France, that's fine. But player wars, we've put a limit on that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So 2 years. You have 2 years of preparation time. During that time, you are not allowed to attack a player. You're allowed to mess around in civil wars, but not attack a player directly. Or through, say, an event that pulls you into a faction, anything like that. Just to make sure everybody gets an even starting point. But after that is free-for-all, basically. And it's going to be interesting to see. So we decided not to go with Hungary here, because we want to make sure that Yugoslavia and Czechoslovakia get to expand.
Do you want to talk a bit about why you think Yugoslavia and Czechoslovakia make interesting minor powers, both for this stream and in the upcoming Death or Dishonour expansion?
Yeah. In fact, we got over to Seek. Is going to be interviewing a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Hooray! Here I am. Welcome back, everybody, to World War PDXCon, where we have the Axis versus the Comintern. We're going to get some quick words from our players here. Mr. Game Gabster, what's your initial plan for this? You can say it silently so that the other side does not hear.
Well, I intend to become an empire. That's my short-term goal. And then world conquest, of course.
That sounds very ambitious. I like it. Mr. Bear, I like that you actually have a physical bear here with you.
Exactly. It's got to be done. Well, take Ethiopia first, then help the guys out and take over the rest of the world. Simple.
Well, it sounds pretty simple when you put it like that.
Hi guys, right, the idea that we had at the outset was to control, well, for my forces, was to control the Italian section here, push up into the French forces and the British forces to capture Alexandria and take the Suez Canal, push this way to come up and to help to secure Gibraltar and seal off the Med from the British fleets, forcing the British and the Allies to have to go around Africa or to land in Africa to deal with us. So that was part of the plan. And the Prussian Prince was planning, if he was able to send his ships around into the Med to help us to control it against the British and then the Soviet ships as they were going to be in this area. So that was the plan as was. So first thing to do, as you can see with the construction side, to improve the ports down in this area to help to actually start pushing in, to help with the supplies, improve the roads so that we've got the supplies coming into this section, put the roads in. I know it's a strange one. Put the roads in so we can start off from here and this section very strongly to allow us to have the infrastructure, because if the British are controlling the waterways, we needed land bridges. We just needed to be able to get up the edge here to connect the territory right across the top, and then to push down, because there's one aspect that we knew we wouldn't be able to trade with the Axis, with the Allies or the Comintern. So we wanted to push down to gain the resources which are further down. Let me just make sure it's on the right one. There we go. And one thing we were short of was the rubber. So to push in, capture the rubber down here, further down to get the tungsten, and more importantly the chromium, to allow us to build artillery to be able to break through. More down here, more metals, and this was part of the plan, to push down, get a land base to allow us to ship the metals up through here, through the whole of the continent, up to Tunisia, up to Tunis, and then across the Med to Italy for use and for producing more artillery to allow us to push in. Now, one of the main things that I'm planning at this stage is to get a heavily mountain focused situation, because what we were doing was getting a very strong defense in the mountains here, pulling back from the border into the mountains, getting a very strong force, and then I was going to help with more mountain troops for pushing into France, holding the central regions, but mainly holding this front along this border. So we'll be to hold it, because we will be holding against the two powers. We have to hold out the British and the Allies, and then we'd have to hold the Comintern while we were stuck right in the middle. We didn't want them attacking into the Med. We had to secure both ends of the Med to minimise the damage from the Royal Navy, which was going to be significant. So I had to spend more time down in Africa capturing this central region here, allowing a supply of equipment and materials from Africa to allow us to survive. And then by providing material support in the way of very nicely constructed, slightly ahead of time artillery to allow us to supply our allies with huge amount of materials for the push in against Russia. That was the plan from the outset. So that's what we were doing. So that's where we are now, and I'll show you an idea as we're going to be moving. The idea was to come down, capture these islands through here, secure this section of the Med, so we didn't have to worry too much about this end of things, as we knew we were going to be stuck between the Russian fleets here, the British fleets in this section, but we wanted to try and secure this area of the Med to allow us to get transport. It was going to be tricky to get anything past Malta, but by having Sardinia and taking Tunisia, we could use a shorter supply route here for getting all the supplies in to battle with the forces which we expected to be landing and coming from the French side, the United Kingdom when we dealt with them, and all the rest of the world. So we expected there to be a bit of a battle down in Africa to actually hold this and prevent the Suez Canal and forcing everybody to have to transport things down past South Africa. And that was part of our plan from the outset. So, and then when I had additional troops, send them up to assist alongside the additional equipment that I was sending to my allies, preferably with those mountain units that I was going to be producing to allow control, stability in the mountains, and then to be able to move in and start attacking. And that's what we actually end up doing. So let's have a look at that. So down in Ethiopia, what we had in place, I was going to move the planes in to start attacking so we could get a superiority in the area to allow us to push in straight towards Addis Ababa from the top and straight up the core into Addis Ababa from the other side very, very quickly. We were growing the ports of Eritrea, Somaliland, so Eritrea up here, moving these ships out to Corsica, Sardinia, up to Sardinia, the main ships up here with the submarines in this lower part of Sardinia to cover this zone, with the rest of the fleet up here being supplied from the mainland and focusing on this side of the Med to stop as much as we could the ingress of the British fleets through here, and to allow us to keep everything flowing at this section. As you can see, let's have a look. Recruit and deploy with Alpine troops and colonial troops coming in. You can see at the moment we have engineering companies, artillery, but we're going to move it up and get the best logistics possible. Now, research, machine tools, construction, mechanical and electrical, but then logistics, because I know from playing in Africa that the key to success, you need to have the supply routes so you can maximise the amount of troops at the front fighting, and with you being bombed, being damaged, they're trying to fight against you. So by having logistics, it means that we can bring more force to bear in a smaller area along with the Air Force to push the British out and the French out in this direction with the supply routes as we build the ports. And as you can see, oops, back to the port site, the construction. So planning on building up a Tripoli, Benghazi and Latium on the other side. So building up the ports to actually supply right the way through into the islands here, right the way across. Now, we needed at this point to take Corsica, so I was planning on 6 units from the 2 ports, 3 units from Genoa, 3 units from La Spezia, first units landing in this top area, well, in the mountains here. The second lot of 3 units landing near the port and the airfield, tying them in place with the second unit pushing in, landing at the top, and then them all forcing and taking this part of the country, and then swinging around, taking the rest of Corsica to secure everything here and take the French out of the fight in the actually on the island. So that was part from the first mission that they were going to be doing. So I needed troops to secure the border, troops to send through, and enough forces down in Africa to capture Ethiopia, start pushing up to capture towards the Suez Canal and to produce a route up along the side of the water, capture the French and United Kingdom areas here, while at the same time then capturing Ethiopia and then pushing down through to capture the ports along this coast, producing enough, as you can see from here, construction wise, roads right the way in, Elgelia, Sirte, Tripolitana, Eritrea, Somaliland, all of these areas, putting in better infrastructure so that we could then transport enough equipment down to allow us to capture these materials. So it wasn't just the men, not just the logistics, but a whole capturing of a whole continent to act as a buffer against the Allies, which we knew they were going to be a problem. So that's a huge thing that I had to do, and that's why my troops weren't up in the northern part of Europe, mostly, apart from on the French side, ready to push through, help take France, or at least hold France, depending on how it went, sending materials through to Madrid and Spain. But the main fight was shipping, and I was the only one who was focusing on additional ships to fight it out with the British and the Russians down in the Mediterranean, but at the same time controlling enough land bases to be able to allow us to get the materials, hold and take a lot of resources in Africa, to allow us, in case it turned into a long-term battle, we needed the longevity to keep the fight going and to be able to hold and then push in and take them. So, without further ado, let's carry on with the next bit.
Easy peasy. And here we are, Mr. Prussian Prince. How are we doing? There's a paper bag here. I'm
playing Germany, and I think I'm, well, jolly Germany, right? So what I'm going to be doing is trying to protect Europe from its oppressors. So mainly United Kingdom, I think, is and France. Like, they're doing, I think they perhaps need to be liberated by Germany.
It does make sense. And we'll see with later in the weather forecast if the sun is still shining on jolly Germany. So, Grookster, our very own representation, well, one of them from Paradox. What is your plan to not make us feel ashamed of you?
Well, first, I'm going to have to solve the problem with that. My country is very split on if we should go communist or if we should, have democracy. So I'm going to decide on, you know what, you don't deserve to vote. Franco is going to lead you to victory.
Well, Franco, what a guy. Last but not least on this side is Torkrivia. Yeah. I'm sorry I butchered your name, but
It's fine.
You can pronounce it for us.
Tokriva.
Tokriva.
Yes.
And what are your initial plans?
My initial plans is to, get Bulgaria.
That makes a lot of sense. So, leaving the Axis far behind, we're gonna move over to the Comintern, starting off with our dear Swedish representation of Flurry Worry. Here you are. What's your plans?
Well, we're going to bring welfare to our allies and helvete to our enemies. Makes Foxhemmets proud.
You know how to grease the wheels with this reporter, straight up. Over here we have Torior. I'm once again sorry.
Yeah, sure. Hi. My initial plan is to crush everything with communist Russia, and of course acquire our allies, because our allies, of course, don't start as our allies. We need to make them communist first, so that's gonna take some time. And then, world domination of the people's republics of everywhere.
Sounds good. And next up, you know him. You came for the pro gameplay. You stayed for the beautiful hairdo. It's our very own Daniel. Right here. Tell us what you're up to, Daniel.
So first we have to unite China under the real leader of China. And with the help, we will probably ask our Soviet friends to, unite the people of China under the right banner of Välfärd.
Välfärd is the way to go in whatever you're up to. I would say myself, Mr. Quill, tell us, what will you do for us today?
Well, I think the people of British Raj have come to realize that being ruled by some foreign elite is clearly the wrong way to go. Rule by the people, for the people, is the only possible exception. At least that's what all the propaganda from China and the Soviet Union is telling us. Sound like a pretty good idea, so hopefully we'll change our government type soon and join Team Winner.
I mean, propaganda is only the best news. People are very upset. And last but not least, we have Mr. The Solar Gamer. Tell us your plans. My arm is shaking a bit, but that's because I'm tired in my arm.
Well, like most of my allies, I don't start communists, so I definitely think that my people need to become communist first. So
that makes a lot of sense, being in the Comintern. And that's all from me right now. And I guess we'll throw it right back to Troy and Dan in the studio. Take it away, boys.
All right, thanks. So that's what they were saying anyway. So I figured we'd give it a check around a little bit to see what actual plans they set up.
Well, if you take a look at the Soviet Union right now, it looks like Daniel's planning a southern move.
Yeah. Well, you're going into Turkey here, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. But, I mean, he's doing the purge. So I don't know if he's going to want to attack during that, especially into Turkish mountains. So he might be waiting. I don't know. Because he's, well, he is justifying, so I guess he probably is.
Yeah, and that seems to be most of the real tension right now comes from the Soviet Union pressuring Turkey for something or other.
Yeah, it also looks like they're gonna shank C together with PRC here. So he's Daniel's prepping here. So I suspect that, you know, he's going to be trying to expand as much as he can during these 2 first years here. Try and grab all of China for himself before Japan comes.
Now, the PRC is always an interesting start because you have a limited, very short window of time in which to expand your power, expand your influence before you're kind of forced into joining your hated nationalist cousins in an aggressive war.
Yeah, I mean, you can say no, but I suspect Daniel might. I don't know. Depends how strong he's managed to get. Like, I don't know, what is he building here? It's just some infantry equipment yet. I guess it doesn't have that much. Although, if I remember correctly, their army and stuff is fairly decent. Yeah. For a small country, at least.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see. What is Quill up to? Well, he's building railways.
Gotta have railways. India's famous for its railways.
Yeah, so he's not going straight for the communist bloc down here, seeking no help from Soviets yet.
Though he is getting, the Communist Party is being supported by both the Chinese and the Soviets at this point.
Oh yeah, so they're gonna probably flip commie pretty soon anyway then. And let's see who else we got. We got Romania for Solar Gamer. And he's got 2 plans here, one against Yugoslavia and one against Czechoslovakia. So I guess that's long-term plans because he's not allowed to attack them for 2 years.
Right.
And
so he's clearly setting up his fronts 2 years in advance. He wants to get the troops ready and in place.
And he's got King Carol in power, and he's already revising the constitution here.
Do you want to explain to our listeners what King Carol does?
Okay, so the thing with Romania is they got this really interesting monarch who's a bit of a party boy, and he actually managed to kind of deftly maneuver politics and actually stay in power for quite a while, despite pressure from lots of different political groups. But I mean, there's debates over how much he cared about his job, but he certainly siphoned off a lot of Romania's cash into a Swiss bank account. So
what challenges does our Romanian player face, does a Solar Gamer face with party boy, playboy King Carol?
Well, it causes a lot of scandals, right? But he has some advantages, like it's cheaper to recruit into the cabinet with him. And if you go and look at the focus tree here, you can get some nice stuff like the Royal Foundation Research Societies. You get bonuses for fortifications, while historically he only said he was going to do and then stole all the money. But you can actually use the money to build fortifications. So you're going to be better off. And probably, I mean, looking at the situation, Romania is going to be the front line here, right?
Pardon?
So that's probably going to be maybe a good idea.
This is the main one.
Yeah. And there's certain ways to handle this king, right? There's 3 or 4 ways actually. You can coup him straight away, but then you don't get much of the benefits. And you can force abdicate him or handle him. And that depends a little bit on what ideology you go for. And Romania is really flexible, so they can kind of switch ideologies a bit. So most of the stuff is not mutually exclusive, like it is in a lot of other trees. There's also the just stick with the royals, right? And you can get him that way.
So which of our other communist players have we not checked out? We should probably check out Sweden. The last of the commies.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting.
How could you forget Sweden?
Well, we're not communist yet. We're not communist yet. Oh, it's growing. It's what we got here, 12%.
My game.
Yeah. And communism on the rise. And we got Per Albin Hansson still. Seems to be going for industry effort here, which I guess makes a lot of sense early on. It's going to take a while for them to get in, and Sweden's going to need to do some serious build-up to be ready to fight. Well, looking frontline-wise, though, I'm kind of seeing this kind of threatening build-up against Oslo. So maybe that is going to be the target. Seem to be training the Swedish troops at the moment.
So there's our run through the communist play. We should probably take a look at how the fascist opponents are doing. Now, of course, as usual, Germany will be taking the lead and setting the pace for this war in this game.
Yeah.
The aptly named Prussian Prince is this week's Führer.
Yeah, this week's Führer. Now, they seem to have start off with Rhineland, but then they're going to be doing industry build-up, so I think people are going to make the most of these 2 years. And it'll be interesting to see what they're doing build-up-wise of equipment here. So, a lot of infantry equipment. It's a lot of basic stuff, so we're not sure yet exactly what direction they're going to be going. Looking at tech as well, there's a lot of long-term stuff here. Mechanical computing and construction machine tools. And seem to be going for a large infantry army early on, which makes a lot of sense as well.
The way we've set up this game, there's not much need for naval build-up, is there?
No, I mean, there might be a bit, because, oh, here we go, peace conference against Ethiopia.
Okay, guys, so let's get this off, as though it's the beginning of the map, and we're a little bit slow, so you can see how the battle was unfolding. So, African theatre. Everything's kicking off. The plan's coming into place. We've got the two forces moving in. As you can see, the ships are moving off, so they're not taking resources, so to allow more to get through to the troops. So you can see that we're a little bit, we've got quite a bit of attrition, but we're pushing in and winning. We have the advantage, pushing in very neatly. Same on this side, the Somaliland side. You can see that we're pushing in. They have no general in charge. We're pushing in relatively strongly. So we'll speed this up. And we also have air power as well. So let's look at how this is all going. There we go. You can see all the fighters that we're going in against their troops. So speeding this back up so you can see the progression up through the country, attacking right the way across. Nice bit of cohesion. Speed this up even further. Speed 4. Then just pause that. What's happened? No, they got no. Okay, let's get them in. Close air support. Boom, let's check the other side. Yep, that's looking good. As you can see, we have quite a nice amount of control. Oh, well, complete control. Large amount of air power in to help us to take this zone as quickly as possible, so then we can flip the troops down to deal with the United Kingdom as quickly as possible. So let's justify against the British. Let's just click on that. We haven't got the points at this stage, so do that later. Keep it rocking and rolling. So you can see the battles clicking in. All of our troops moving into position. Very, very nice. And we will be having our fleets. There we go. They're moving in. Join all of the subs together as one single unit out of Sardinia. One commander. Let's. This is quite an important one. So let's go for level 2, and we'll get convoy raiding. Convoy raiding. Join them all together. Come on, you want to. There we go, in the med to cover this area here. Now, I've still got more subs incoming. I need them up as well before I start patrolling. So these subs, let's just cancel that order at the moment. Get them back into port. All together. I was trying to show you, in the real game I did it a little bit slower and wait for them to get in. I'm just excited to show you what was actually going on at the time. So pushing in, we've got superiority, number of battles going on, even though they have more troops than us on this border. With the air support, we are taking it to them, and I'm pushing in as quickly as possible, while at the same time building. Let's have a look at the building side of things. You can see the Eritrean ports, and then Somaliland will having additional ports to support the troops in the country. So that's a big positive. We need the ports to initially support ourselves in Ethiopia, but also to give us the supplies to push down into Africa and up through the UK side of things, pushing up to connect on this side of the border, to connect right the way through, so we have the land bridges. So we'll keep this rocking and rolling. More troops coming in to assist in through the mountains, so we can do the we can get through them as quickly as possible. That's it. You can do. We've been defending against them, but now we're pushing in. We have mountain troops in up against theirs, and it's going very, very neatly indeed. Let's have a look at some battle details. So yeah, we've got they've got a lot more divisions, but our forces are better. We're supported, even though they have the numerical advantage that we can't bring enough forces to bear. But by focusing, we can actually bring it straight to them as quickly as possible and head towards the capital. There we go, more troops pushing in, which will allow us to then have the forces here to secure the UK and French zones, and then to start pushing down from a position of strength here and up in this section to start take over the whole of the top of Africa, this whole side, and then push down for the resources near Belgium. All very, very important. So let's speed this up a bit more. Now in the game we managed to take Ethiopia sometime in March. Let's see how we compare. That's it, it's gone a little bit earlier. Cool, so that's showing taking of Africa a little bit earlier. Ethiopia a little bit earlier. So that was when it came up, and it's ours. Oh yeah. Take all the states. My picture's in the way. I'm going to have to reset this and move the picture. So I will stop recording, but you can see that by doing it that way, we've then got a foothold, control this whole section, ready to send some troops up to prepare the attacks, ready to take the British and the French out of the top of Africa. So yeah, that is the plan at the moment. So I'm going to stop the recording so I can actually do this, because I can't click on the buttons at the moment. I can't see what's there because I've got the picture of myself with the bear over it. So I shall see you later, and we will carry this on in the next section.
Well, I guess we can start looking at the Italy player after that. But no, there's going to be a bit, right? But I think for the fascists, they're going to be okay with the Italian Navy, right? Because all they need it for now is to ensure being able to do naval invasions against Russia and stuff like that.
Right. So let's take a look at Italy, which just finished the conquest of Ethiopia, which is, the standard start.
Yeah, then they can do triumph in Africa soon, but they're doing some more industry as well, so they're also going for the long game. And I've got, oh, sorry. Did someone just hot join in?
Me.
Oh, did you drop? Whoops.
But I'm just talking and watching. So
I just got confused there because everything jumped up.
Yeah, that was me.
All right. Oh, exciting. So Italy is doing a plan here against France. Let's see if they've set up their air force yet. I'm going to make sure people get a chance to see the new air interface as well.
Yes, please.
But I'm going to wait probably until we start some conflict, because there's not much to look at before we actually start fighting.
So Italy is actually personally my favorite start in all of Hearts of Iron 4. I think it is a country with a lot of options, a lot of creativity. You can do the land thing, the naval thing.
Yeah, they're like a mix of Germany and Japan light, I think. You know, you get some naval, you get some land. You don't necessarily have to push the whole conflict yourself if you don't want to either. So you can kind of decide when you want to enter it.
And there's always that one British amphibious attack on, you know,
or more than
Naples, but more than one.
Yeah.
That brings you down. So let's go through the rest of the fascists. Italy's neighbor, Yugoslavia. Now, usually in the game, these two end up becoming bitter enemies, but we put them on the same side.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. It looks like they're going to sink their teeth into Bulgaria, in fact. I'll see if they're actually justifying. No, not yet. They are neutral, so they're going to have to boost up their fascism. In fact, I don't think we've actually shown the Yugoslavia tree yet, so make notes if you haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
Yugoslavia is kind of... Actually, we'll start with spirits. They're a country with a lot of internal struggles. So you have Macedonian opposition, Croatians, Slovene nationalism, Serbian... oh, well... And specifically an anti-German military that you kind of, if you're going to go fascist, want to join the Axis, kind of need to get rid of these guys or they're going to be a coup. So if we look back on the focus trees, you see there's a lot of mutual exclusion things. You're going to have to do a lot of trade-offs. There is stuff like making the Orthodox church happy, stuff like that. And so we'll see what you're going to be doing here, but you kind of have to go all the way down here to join the Axis. And you start with really low national unity. I think that's going to be important in multiplayer because you could take them out pretty quickly otherwise.
Yeah, if Tokarev doesn't get his national unity up into the 60 range, a couple of attacks will knock him out very easily.
Yeah. They also have a lot of interesting options for license production. So I hope people are going to be using that in multiplayer, especially in multiplayer like this where you can kind of coordinate. So one player might be the one who's going to be doing the absolute best aircraft and the other could license produce it. There are some output penalties for that unless you're subjects or have special deals through focus trees. Right. But I think it might be a really powerful strategy. And they also have options for the coastline, but I suspect they're not going to care about that, and they're just going to rely on the Italian Navy here.
So let's take a look at the Czechs,
Yeah.
who are an industrial powerhouse.
Yes.
A lot of factories, especially for what you consider a middle power.
Yeah, and they start with the Skoda work as well, so all of their factories get a 10% output bonus. And they are divided as well. There's this Slovak stuff going on, and in fact, a lot of their industry tree relies on that. So you have some trade-offs. How are you going to deal with pressure from outside? Because you can choose to boost the Slovak areas with industry as well, or just go with the complete Czech parts. And that's very important if you're going to be going the fascist path. Now, with a kind of friendly Germany, I suspect the trade-offs might not be so bad.
Right.
They're probably going to let them keep stuff. So we'll see, but you have several options here. Like, how do you want to deal with Germany, right? Again, in multiplayer, more freedom, but against an AI, there are 3 different ways. You can sort of appease them or end up as a puppet. More as an ally, where you, I believe, is the one where you end up as the subject of them, yes. One of the new Axis levels. And you can also end up as a more of a even partner, but for that you have to be a lot stronger.
And the final fascist power we have is, of course, nationalist Spain, who it looks like they skipped the Civil War straight.
Or it might be happening still.
Oh, they're nationalist Spain now. Yeah, they could probably get it. Do you expect
I
a Republican Civil War?
I cannot remember if you can completely avoid it. I think it might still happen. We'll see. Franco has been powered, so I guess that's the spirit of Grugi here.
Is that a spirit? Is that a national focus? Spirit of Grugi?
It could be. He earlier tried to explain Czechoslovakia as the hedgehog of Europe.
Do you want to explain that?
Well, because, you know, they can have all these amazing fortifications. In fact, I'll go back to check that out real quick. If you look at this whole thing here, so they now start off with a little less fortifications, but you get really strong focuses where they take good ideas from the French, basically, to build up the fortification lines. So they can make some really strong defense now. So if you want to take on the Germans, it's a little easier, I think. Although, except unless you forget, because no name calling, but there was a guy during the press interview who was like, "Oh, I got this best defense," and he actually forgot to build the defense because he was too busy building his defense army. That was still fun, though. So what is Grugi doing? He's building the basic kind of stuff, and yeah, we changed the support equipment icon. You guys might have noticed, because apparently you're not allowed to use the Red Cross stuff. Breaks the Geneva Convention, as we found out lately. So we've been changing these kind of icons, and it's coming out when the next update. And he's researching industry. Oh yeah, they're starting kind of way behind as well. So we'll see. It's always a little struggle with it, with Spain like this as well. It's like, do you want to build an army? Because you get the civil war, you're gonna sort of lose some of it. Yeah.
But you do get all that valuable experience that you can use against a lot of your other neighbors who might not have that battlefield experience.
No. In fact, I'm going to have a look. We've been rebalancing the Soviet Union a little bit, so they actually start with more... well, actually, they have a massive lack of equipment still, but this is slightly less bad now. We had to rebalance because the German AI got a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they're still lacking like 57k here. I guess they're also producing a lot of divisions, so yeah. So we got that Toreador, yeah. So I guess he's gonna go for massive manpower. He seems to be preparing his Turkey. Let's see what time is left on that. He's about, well, he's getting there. So he's gonna be ready in October.
Looks like we have our war.
Yeah, let's go see how the Chanking of Changxi is going.
So this was expected.
Yeah. Although, yeah. Wait.
The Soviet allies have jumped in.
Yeah.
And Shaanxi should vanish relatively quickly.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing Daniel push here. I thought he was going to be pushing as well, but
He's taking some spots.
yeah, now he is. Yeah. And he's a friendly old Mao. Let's see what kind of divisions they have. I don't think they're particularly impressive, these small ones. Well, decent if you're a small nation, I guess. But you really want to have some support stuff as well. Let's see what he's researching. Yeah, I figured he would do it. Mass assault. Daniel actually likes that one. It's one of those things that the community is like not a big fan of. Daniel likes this one a lot. It has some unique twists.
Do you want to explain some of the debate over the doctrines?
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of a little bit tailored to certain style, and some of them are a little strong. Superior firepower, for example, probably gives a little bit too much organization, because it's one of those things that's always good. For mass assault, though,
superior firepower, that's where you build a lot of artillery to support your infantry.
Yeah, exactly. So the meta is kind of going in the... It's still a little bit in the artillery direction. We balanced it a lot in the last patch. We're probably going to have to tweak it a little bit more. Mass assault, though, has some things where... Let's see, where is that? They have things... Supply grace here is a great one. If you're going to be fighting in any areas where you get cut off, supply grace is amazing, because you don't get that penalty right away, so you can beat yourself out of pockets. It's great when you're fighting in Asia, where there may be a lot of holes and mountains and nasty stuff like that. So I've seen Daniel use that one to good effect. I think it's one of those undervalued abilities of that tree. And it looks like they're not, it's just a matter of time now. I'm gonna look at the army. Have you seen the new war interface, by the way, Troy?
I have not.
Yeah, so if you look at the top here, we're actually showing like complete fielded manpower and total losses. And I'm pretty impressed by the loss numbers here on the attacker side. Only 94 men have died versus 3,000 losses on the other side. So yeah, it
very
seems
efficient.
Yes, very efficient. I'm kind of impressed by that, actually, but I guess they're not wasting Well, actually, Daniel's bled the most. So, but still, it's kind of neat. This gives you a really good way of just getting a quick overview, and you can see number of factors. You can see that Soviet Union's got 87 straight up, and you can sort by these things as well. And before it was you had to go around and try and get a rough idea how strong the enemy was. Intel does affect this, so as you can see, although they have complete intel on Shaanxi here. Well, actually, it's me because I'm observer.
Of course, we know all.
Yeah. But yeah, so Intel does impact what kind of data you get there. Oh, they seem to be running some air stuff. So let's see if we can see anything going on here.
The PRC doesn't start with planes, do they?
No, but I saw the Soviets. In fact, they seem to have. Oh, of course, I'm gonna have to actually switch to the Soviets first.
Oh, there's a coup in Romania.
Oh, in fact, let's have a look at that then.
Yeah, since the war in Shaanxi is pretty much over.
Yeah. Oh, but the coup was. I think it was the. Oh, here we go. Yeah, the war's over. How will they split up Shaanxi?
Oh, I don't know.
Probably give it all to Daniel, I suspect.
Well, he did lose the
match. It'll be funny, though, if the Soviet player snagged it all. Yeah. Looks like they're grabbing it. Yeah, got it all. So.
And 2,000 guns, which is not a small prize for a country like PRC.
No, it's probably doubling there. So one small step for the world, a big step for Daniel, I guess.
So Michael I is now in charge of Romania.
Yeah, so we didn't get to keep Carol around, and he's young and bushy-tailed, I guess. Michael I. He doesn't have a lot of that. Sentinel of the Mandala. Okay, so they got some of the royalty. Let's see what choices they made here. So they're going with flexible foreign policy, which lets you kind of join factions early, kind of switch between factions, because, Romania is one of those nations that technically was on all three sides in the war.
Yes.
So we kind of wanted to capture that, so you can jump around a little bit in ideologies. And in multiplayer, when we haven't really set the factions like we have now, that could probably be pretty interesting. Yeah, so flexible foreign policies. And I think it's more than... I think the other bonuses maybe not show because the tension's so high.
The tension is growing. Now, we don't have anybody playing the Allied players. How do you think the Allies could throw a kink into our plans for, bloodshed between the two extreme ideologies?
Yeah, so it really depends on what the German player is going to be doing. In fact, they seem to be doing the Anschluss now, so they're sort of on track. But they do have an attack plan set up against France and one against Poland. So. Because we changed our tension work a bit, so if you're going to go against France directly, the British would actually be able to protect them. And it looks like Communist Sweden, aptly named Folkhemmet, has joined Comintern as well. And the purge continues in the Soviet Union as well. No, I think UK is probably going to try and invade stuff. There's probably going to be some war in Africa. The question is, if the Italian player is going to care with the big Soviet threat, they might actually give up most of Africa, perhaps.
So, what they didn't know, that the plan was to push through, secure both sides of the Med, to get the Gibraltar Peninsula, and also to secure the Suez Canal, forcing all of the Allies to have to land in France or else land in Africa. And I expected an African landing, which is one of the reasons I was pushing troops down to oppose them, and also to capture the resources down near the Belgium, Portugal and UK regions. Very strong areas down here, a lot of resources to capture, so we're part of the way into to capturing that. And with the Russian forces pushing in to deal with the Russian forces, the UK forces, the French, the Belgians, the Portuguese, I hadn't expected us to go to war with Brazil, but Prussian Prince actually declares war on Brazil, which brings Brazil in on the Allies side, so I have to deal with the Brazilian forces as well. At the same time, pumping up the artillery side of things to roughly a 1940-1941 level in about 1939, and having several thousand free units. So I fill up my entire specialist force with, as you look in here, recruiting mountain troops. You can see everything is going really nicely. Additional anti-tank, artillery, all of the equipment going down. A very strong professional force, and with a lot of spare equipment. We're looking a couple of thousand spare artillery that as we move on, I send into to Germany to allow them to hold the border and then push in with an unexpected amount of force and to break through the Russian lines, while having secured Africa from the threat of the Allies and the Comintern, holding them here, and then pushing down to fight against the British, the French, and the worst of all was actually the stupid war that we had to fight against the Brazilians, which I hadn't expected because someone declared war on them and called them in, and they threatened us, and so I had to deal with them as well. But flipping the units, having secured Africa, I then send forces up to move in and help in Hungary and into Romania, ready for with the German forces pushing down this way, holding the border, and then we steam through and up into the Soviet Union for the win. At this stage, you don't know that. So at this stage, it looks like little Italy's just holding this section, and they're wondering what the plan is. Are we going to get out of Africa? No. We hold it against everybody, start to dominate, and then have enough free troops to send them up into mainland Europe to deal with the Comintern threat, and then push in to destroy the Soviet Union. And that's to come in the next episode. So I hope you like this. I'm the Gaming Bear. It was an amazing session. Everyone had an amazing time, and then we went out and partied afterwards. So so this is the end of this episode. I shall see you on the next one. I'm the Gaming Bear, and have fun until then. Hearts of Iron 4, the new expansion. Oh yes, lots and lots of fun from PDX 17. Stockholm, Sweden. Oh yes. See you later, guys. Bye.